Hey everybody, Chad from Sticks Blog. Today I want to do a video and talk about some trekking poles that I got a little while back. Now I want to say first off, the whole reason I got these trekking poles was a while back I picked up a new tent, the Yamaha Mountain Gear Ceraform single wall tent. And with that tent, ideally one would use trekking poles in order to set the tent up. That way you save weight off of tent poles. My only problem was I didn't have any trekking poles that I wanted to carry that would collapse down as short as I need it for the back, the foot end of the tent. The tent required a 26-inch pole to be used to set up the back of the tent, and the shortest that my LT4s would go down to was something like 33 inches. So there was, there wasn't really much compromise there. I do have a pair of Leakeys, and they will go down, I believe, to exactly 26 inches. However, my only problem with those was the weight on those things were like 19 and a half ounces. And then, of course, coming from my LT4s, weighing in at about 4 ounces apiece, I wasn't really looking to move up that much in weight. Not at least if I didn't have to. So I was kind of looking around, and I'd heard about these Fizan poles here. I'd heard people talk about these on BPL, and they're aluminum poles. They're not the quick lock poles, which is kind of what I was wanting to go to. But anyway, they're, as you can see here, they have a different locking mechanism on it, and I'll show you that in just a little bit. But anyway, I found a guy selling a pair of these Fizan poles for $55, $60. I can't remember the exact price. But anyway, it was on the Gear Swap thread. He had just bought them, and he obviously decided that he couldn't justify keeping them. They were brand new. So I said, sure man, I'll take them. So he sent them in to me, and the first thing I did was I removed the snow baskets. Although I wouldn't call them snow baskets, they were so tiny. But anyway, I removed the baskets off the ends, and I pulled the straps out of the back handles. And then I threw one on the scale. They're listed at weighing 158 grams. However, when I threw mine on the scale, they come out to 5.6 ounces, stripped down without the basket and without the loop, or 160 grams. So it's just a little bit overweight, not a whole lot. But still, the way I look at it, 5.6 ounces per pole, that comes to 11.2 ounces for the pair. That's not a bad weight, and especially for the price. Like I said, I can't remember. I want to say I paid $55 for them. But anyway, for the price, I was pretty happy with them. And especially, I'll admit, so far the locking mechanisms work super great. I've been super excited about them. But anyway, the poles themselves, as you can see here, I've got this one still together, but this one is completely taken apart. It's a 3-piece pole. As I said, the weight on these is 5.6 ounces. Now, whenever I put everything together and collapse it down, the smallest length that it'll go is just over 23 inches. About 23.25 inches is the shortest length it'll go. Now, if you remember, I said I need the length to be at least 26 inches for that Yamaha tent. And this one easily makes that. I actually have to extend it out just a little bit in order to make it work with the Yamaha tent. But the cool thing is that since they do collapse down so small, it makes, if I do have to carry them in my backpack, or as I found out on my most recent hike, underneath my sternum strap, it works out really well because they'll get so small. But anyway, they're 3-piece poles. They are made out of aluminum. And it's a 7001 grade aluminum. I don't know if you can see that there. The camera will focus. But anyway, it's a 7001 grade aluminum, which is obviously what they make some lightweight tent poles out of. The handles, it's kind of a foam handle with a hard plastic top. And then, of course, they have that cut out there with a little pin running through it that the loop or the strap was run through, and I took that off. I just don't use them. I do want to say the grips are okay. I would love to be able to take these grips off and put the same grips that I have on my LT4s on these. I think these would be a super awesome pole if I did. Not to mention, plus, I feel like if I was able to do that, that I would actually cut some weight off of these poles. Maybe not much, you know, maybe a couple of tenths of an ounce, but hey, every little bit counts. But anyway, as I said, they'll go down to just a little over 23 inches, 23 1/4 inches when they're completely collapsed down. And then when I put them together, you can see, like most poles, they've got little areas marked, stop, stop. If I stop it on both of those areas, the poles will extend to as much as about 52 1/4, 52 1/2, somewhere around there, 52 1/2 inches in length. So they're not the tallest poles. My LT4s, if I extend that thing out, I mean, I've got easily 7 extra inches of use with my LT4s as I do with these. However, I don't really need that much height out of my poles. Of course, I don't hike with them. I found for me, I like to hike with my poles set at about 42 to 43 inches. That's just how I like to hike with them. And then with my shelters, of course, I don't need it. On the Yama tent, the tallest that I need in the head end is only 42 inches, I believe. I will say that I have reordered the Hexamid Solo Plus tarp, not the tent, the tarp. And I think it's 52 inches is what is recommended for setting that up. So if that's the case, these poles will work excellent for that as well. I do want to say, as far as cosmetics, they've got, you know, they've got all this Fizan, they've got all this paint stuff. And I want to say that the paint does kind of bubble up and scratch off pretty easily, especially on the lower shaft here. You can see all, I don't know if the camera's focusing, but you can see all the scratches and stuff I've put on it. And that was just a 20-mile hike is what that's from. So it's not a whole lot of hiking on them so far. But you know, that doesn't really make a difference to me. I don't care if the paint gets scratched up. That's it's pointless. I just figured I'd throw it out there because I read some other comments about other people complaining the same thing. So anyway, the way this locking system works, it's essentially the same way as my LT4s. The only difference is it's the same theory. It's just a little bit different in the way it works. I don't know if my camera's focusing in. I hope it is. But as you can see right here, there's basically a thread. This right here, the silver piece, is threaded, and as it goes down and it expands, it gets wider. And then there's just this plastic sleeve over it. Well, as the trekking pole inside it catches and it winds down, all it does is make that plastic sleeve expand. You can see here, expanding right there. And what that does is just make it catch on the inside. Now, I want to say that so far, this has worked flawlessly. I've had no issues whatsoever getting these things to lock down. And I'm super excited about that because, to be honest, I was a little bit afraid. My LT4s, I still have some issues on occasion getting those to lock down. And to be quite honest, it is a bit of a bummer. So I was a little bit nervous when I got these, considering the locking mechanisms are so similar. But like I said, so far I've used them on that one hike. I've used it to set up my tent a few times here at my house and just doing some other little things with them. And they've worked out really well. So I'm really happy with them as far as that's concerned. I do want to say too, if you need a little bit of a shorter breakdown, you can actually take all the pieces out like I have here, and you can see there's actually about 3 1/2 to 4 inches less. So I'm going to say these break down, if you take them completely apart, to about 19 1/2 inches is what these will go down to. So that gives you a super small breakdown. But anyway, like I said, I've only used these on one hike so far. They've worked out great. Had no problems with them at all. Just putting it back together, you can see that goes in there. And then twist it. Of course, it was completely unlocked, so it'll take just a second. But there it is. It's solid. It's not going anywhere. And then the other one here, stick that in there, twist it, and that's solid. Not going anywhere. And that's one sturdy pole. Now, I will admit, I have not actually put about 200 pounds of my weight on one single pole. To be honest, I don't think any pole would hold that up if I was to just put it in front of me and try to stand up on it like that. However, on that particular hike, I did use them at times, using both of them to kind of rock hop over some areas and stuff like that. And it held up my weight just fine. At this point, I have no concerns with will it hold me up or are they going to be sturdy enough. They're great poles, I think. And I think I'm going to look forward to using them. Like I said, I would like to be able to remove the handles and put the other handles on. The one thing I'm not sure about, the shafts on these are so much wider than the shafts on the LT4s. So I would have to figure up something with that. And I'm not sure that I want to destroy these, because my luck, I would take these apart and then not get them back together and they'd be wasted. But anyway guys, these are the Fizan. They're the Compact series. You can see right there too, it says the telescopes from 58 to 132 centimeters. I can't do the conversions in my head. But anyway, they are made in Italy. Now there are a couple of sites that you can get these from. You do have to kind of look for them. I think they're all overseas. Like I said, I got mine from, I can't remember the username on BPL, but I bought mine from him and they arrived just a few days later. So I'm pretty excited about them. Looking forward to using them. Anyway guys, I just wanted to kind of show these off because there ain't a whole lot of reviews that I found on these poles. And while this isn't just a hardcore in-depth review, it is kind of a look at it for those of you that may not have heard about these poles or just kind of maybe curious about them, because I was. But anyway, these are the Fizan Compact Superlight poles. If you have any comments or questions, feel free to post them below, and I'll do my best to answer any of the questions you may have or reply to any of the comments you may have. And guys, I just appreciate you watching. I appreciate all your support, and I just really appreciate everything. And see you later.